Hello, this is Leong and you're watching The Shift Asia. And today I'm here with World Vision. And World Vision was founded in 1950 by Reverend Dr. Bob Pierce, an American pastor and war correspondent, in response to the needs of the Korean War orphans. In over 70 years, World Vision has impacted the lives of over 200 million vulnerable children by tackling the root causes of poverty through its various development, humanitarian, and emergency relief programs in over 100 countries. World Vision Malaysia was set up in 1997 as a support office with the primary focus of growing the child sponsorship program amongst Malaysians and its neighbours. And today, World Vision Malaysia supports community development and humanitarian programs in 13 countries and local community development programs in Sabah. I'm here with CEO Terry Leong and also old friend. Of course, World Vision is something close to my heart, something that I've been supporting for over 20 years as well. Now, the start of World Vision's focus was children, and it has since evolved to other things, right? I want to talk a little bit, we talk about emergency relief, and maybe I'll go there straight, but what is the work that you do around emergency relief?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Frida, and thank you for being a child sponsor. Recently, someone met you or heard you in a women's conference, and you talked about your sponsored child, and she was so inspired by the work that you do. Yes.
And so did she end up sponsoring?
I don't know. I'm going to follow up with her as well.
Don't be inspired. Take action.
Okay, I will tell her that you said that. I think World Vision is always, the thing that I associate with World Vision is always the fact that we respond.
Right.
I mean, Bob Pierce responded to a need, many, many years ago, because there was, I don't know if you know that, but there was a child called White Jade, and there's a missionary who brought the child after the Korean War to him and said, "What are you going to do about her?" And he responded. So in a sense, even though a lot of our work is in community development, our ethos, our value is always response.
Right.
Same with the Vietnam War. We had 3-4 million people living in Vietnam at that time.
Yeah.
World Vision was the first organization that bought a boat, got it registered to rescue 93 boat people from Vietnam. So we respond to issues. Just last week, World Vision responded to 62 crises around the world.
Right.
59 countries, about 20 over million people were impacted. So in a sense, we're doing what we've always done. Although our work is primarily for the last many years has been in community development, because that was the need, that was the response that was needed. But today, with climate change, all of the conflict that goes on, we're still responding. So this is what we continue to do.
Right. And it's so... you just mentioned, and I didn't realize there's so much conflict in so many countries around the world. The ones we hear and the ones that we don't hear, right? And of course, after the response of helping them with emergency relief, what happens after that, right? And how it happens in building the community. One of the things that you also have a few initiatives under advocacy work, namely the 30-hour famine, It Takes You, and the One Goal Malaysia, right? Can you share what you do around these initiatives? Because these are very Malaysian initiatives.
Yes, correct. So 30-hour famine, for those who don't know, is an advocacy movement. We've been doing this for the last 27 years. So, we have groups of young people. We educate them on poverty, hunger, and then they raise funds, So they also go on a fast for 30 hours. They can fast from a meal, they can fast from social media, whatever. But the whole idea is to understand what it's like to do without.
Right.
So we're still continuing to do that this year. Frida, this is something that I cannot believe, because some of us have had our 5th or 6th yisang by last weekend, right?
Right.
But there are about 783 million people that get up hungry every day still. I just find it staggering to think that happens in a day and age where we feel like we have a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So this whole concept of hunger and poverty continues to be a message that needs to be conveyed. And we try to convey it to children and to young people. Just this year, 2022, in 2019, we had about 135 million people that had no food. And then this year, 2022, we doubled that number. So we want, this year we're going to focus on the same message. We are reaching out to schools, to younger children, because we think that lesson can be learned, at a much younger age. And we're going to do a little bit differently. We're also going to be inviting, and we invite a lot of celebrities to come, Malaysian local celebrities to come and help us advocate for that message.
Right.
And we've found it to be, very, very important. We have people come up to us in the streets and say, "Oh, you're from World Vision? I was a famine advocate." We call them famine fighters. 20 years ago, and I sponsored a child.
Right.
We also have recently we had someone from a corporate call us and say, "Can you come? We want to give you some money to work in Sabah because I was a freedom fighter 20 years ago, and now I'm in corporate. I want to continue to help and further the cause." So it's an incredible
and of course, these things always take time, right?
Yeah.
In a few, I think last year you also had the 1,000 Girls campaign, right? That was the first time you all did that.
No, we've had that for 4 or 5 years now. Yeah.
And what was the purpose? And did you meet the goals?
Yes, we did. Last year was a good year. So we had about 1,000 and maybe 35 girls, sponsored, and that was very good. We're so thankful to Malaysians for being so generous. I mean, the fact is that there's so many girls who still, who marry under 18. I think the stats is like 2 million girls every 2 seconds or something that still marry under 18. And apparently it's not just girls, it's boys and girls. But, we were about girls. And, when girls marry young, they're not educated. And then there is a lot of the abuse issues and stuff. So we particularly wanted to spotlight girls and say, to everyone that if you help girls, they say girls hold up half the earth, right? Half the sky, right? So if you help girls, the ripple effect is huge because then you have families that are stable. Then you have, livelihood. I spoke to people from this microfinancing people. They say if you give money to a woman,
they will pay back.
They will pay back. The defaults are so much less. So we know how important it is to just focus on girls' causes.
And these are the things, right? We talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, right? There's gender equality, there is no poverty, and there is education. So this is the kind of thing that you do as well. Now, most of your work is around also community transformation, where someone can sponsor a child for 65 ringgit a month, right? What is the work you do and around this, and what do you do with the funds raised? People say 65 ringgit.
Yeah.
How far can it go?
Yeah. Right? Somebody just reminded me that 65 ringgit today is like 15 USD and said, what can you do with this money? But that's if one person gives.
Yeah.
But if, 10,000 people give, 200,000 people give, now that's a lot of money. So all of the money that we collect, Frida, from your child sponsorship goes into the community. It doesn't go to the child.
Right.
Because we recognize that a child can only thrive in a community.
Right.
If the parents are not providing for the children, the child doesn't thrive. If there's no opportunity for school, it doesn't thrive. If there are no hygiene and sanitation facilities, if girls have no place, who don't understand menstruation, no place to, dispose, and don't have the dignity of, looking after their own hygiene, then the child doesn't thrive.
Right.
So what we do is all of that money that we collect, we pool, and then we focus on these key sectors. One of the interesting things about World Vision that I've come to appreciate is the fact that we don't go in like a superhero and tell the community, hey, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. What we do is we sit the community down, ask the question, what's important? And then the community over time decides, what to prioritize. And then we work with them for 10, 15 years with the goal that when we exit, that they will continue
that they're
work.
Sustainable.
Absolutely.
Right. So, and that's the
word.
thing, right? It takes 10 to 15 years to make sure the water's in place, the schools are in place, there are jobs in place.
Absolutely.
There's, so it takes a while.
Yeah. So, Frida, I said, first of all, that World Vision is an organization that responds. But the other thing about World Vision that I think that I've learned over time is we shift the power. The only way we can do sustainable work in any development work we do is when we shift the power. Because if you think about it, a lot of us, when we give, we hold the power. So, we've seen, we give and then we expect the beneficiaries to do what we want them to do. We give and we think that we are owed the right to accountability. I mean, we are, but we don't have the right to tell people what to do with their lives.
Right.
Yeah? So what we try to do is to shift the power to the community.
Okay.
Because when we shift the power there, then there is a chance that there'll be a long-term change. I just saw some interesting stats. So one of the key focus areas we work on And we do it actually through one of our advocacy movements, which is the Run for Children. We
Right.
do an annual run every year. And that's around child protection, child safety against violence and abuse. I just attended a closing ceremony of a village in Vietnam called Arthur. And I saw some incredible stats. You know that when we first started there, I looked at the 2018 to 2022 stats. 2018, 19% of the community still used physical punishment to their children.
Oh, wow.
They,
Okay.
you know, yeah. By the end of our 4 years there, or that report, only 2.5% do that.
Okay.
They learn to work with the child. Now imagine you continue this value system ongoing, because that child would have learned the right thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. Similarly, the other thing that was quite fascinating to me is that 40% of the people in 2018 thought, yeah, we're quite safe. This is a safe place for children. But once we went into the education of what it meant for a child to be safe, by 2022, 85% of the parents agreed that now we have a safe place for children to thrive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We also measured the child's right to give ideas and to have a say in the community. And that also increased. We saw from a 40% awareness to about 70%, where a child feels like, yeah, I can say something and my parents will listen and they will do something about it. Now that's, to me, is where you can have long-term change.
Right.
Because then the child is influenced and then they will influence their children.
So I want to talk a little bit about your work in Sabah, right? You also have the Malaysia Assistance Fund.
Yeah.
So we talk about Sabah. Which part of Sabah? What is still lacking there?
Okay. Yeah. So we're in two places in Sabah. We're in Sabah, because it's actually one of the most impoverished states still in Malaysia, despite all the natural resources. So we're in Tulit and Tatalaan. In Tulit, we've been there for over 10 years. So we're actually now in the last phase. In Tatalaan, we are in the mid phase of our work there. So we developed all of the key sectors that we talked about: water, nutrition, education, child protection, livelihood. So Tulit's been very, I'll tell you a story. So we have a lady, this is an example of change. So Puan Ellie, a friend now for all of us, when she started with us, she was a mother, 9 kids, wanted to be a nurse, but had no opportunity for education. Husband is a day worker. Okay. So when we went in, we do that. That's one of our models. We start Children's Club, which is basically to help children want to go to school.
Right. Okay.
So we make it enjoyable and then, encourage them to go to school. Yeah. So, and all these ladies, we tell them, look, we're going to start you off, but we'd like you to continue this, after we go. And inevitably, we get this response, tak boleh lah, kita tak ada sekolah, kita tak ada belajar, you boleh, kita tak boleh. That's the inevitable response. But we had this lady, Puan Ellie, she stepped up. She had a lot of objections from her, her husband and her mother-in-law. Like, you got 9 kids, you got no money, you still want to go and help, a children's club. But she did that. And then a couple of years ago, just before COVID, World Vision, we supported her to get a preschool education certificate. And she just graduated with a diploma. Right. Our first in that. And now, this mousy lady, who started with us, she's canvassing Adun and corporates for money to support her preschool. Right. She's running the preschool, she's doing the P&L. So that's the kind of work that we've done and we will continue to do. We would like to have more mothers like Ellie, step up and do this. But Tulit, we've already got examples and some leadership. So Tatalaan is the one that we're working on, and we're hoping to, move to other communities.
And you can do this with 9 kids.
Yes, right. Oh, so amazing, right? No, I love that story.
The thing is, though, it's quite sad to hear that it's still happening in our own backyard.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not some long, far distant country. It's right here in Malaysia now. Yeah. How can the public help in World Vision Malaysia's work, apart from funding?
Okay. So I must be totally frank with you. Funding is our most important need, and World Vision Malaysia is a fundraising company. But the other thing about us that many people don't know is we've already committed to children. We've got children in 29 communities in 14 countries. We're already committed to them whether or not we raise the funds.
Right.
Yeah. So we've got about 8,000 children unsponsored now. We are already committed, to them. So sponsoring a child would be top of mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Sponsor a child. One child, you can make,
Yeah.
a huge amount of difference. The ripple effect is on, a whole community. So that's the first thing. The other thing is just to create awareness, to talk about us, to talk to friends, tell our story, as it were. That'll be good. We have a run coming up in June,
Okay.
July, I think, or maybe
Okay.
July. So that's a great way to participate
Okay.
with us. If you've got children and schools and you want to connect us, our team will go in and talk about 30-hour famine. So this year we have an 8-hour, or last year we started an 8-hour famine, or last 2 years. But last year, 8-hour famine really took traction.
Right.
So we noticed that schools wanted their younger children to pick up on this,
Right.
And so we're looking for opportunities to speak to schools and to have them participate with
Right.
us on that.
Okay, and it's great, right? I mean, 30 hours may be a bit of a shock
Yeah,
for the
but
parents, but 8 hours,
Yeah.
kind of workable, of course.
Yeah, corporates are also doing 8 hours with
Okay.
us. So they might do a day program, and then we go in and do the same kind of education, and then we close. They close together. It's a real great team building, opportunity. So if Malaysians would like for us to talk to them, we'll be more than happy.
So there's the run, and of course the talks that you're doing, and anything else for 2024. The girls, we're doing the girls.
So we're hoping to bring in another girl this time. For you at our last 1,000 Girls launch, and this one is from Cambodia.
Right.
So we're hoping to have her in. So we'll have that launch in June. Oh, but we're having something a bit more special. This year we're bringing in the Aboriginal Taiwan's Children Choir.
Right.
They're coming in August.
Okay.
And we're bringing them here as well as to East Malaysia for the first time.
Right.
We're really excited about it because these were they were from communities that World Vision Taiwan supported, local communities, and they've actually had recognition around the world. So I think it'll be quite a treat to listen to them, and they're rather sweet. So look out for these events, and we'd love to have people come join us.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing the work that you're doing. Of course, I've been speaking to Terry Leong from World Vision Malaysia. This is The Shift Asia.
Thank you.